Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast, all the stuff we did not get to during the course of the show today. And this is the Aftercast that I have not wanted to do because of the subject of it. So we have Bekah with us. And Bekah, who you know, was on the show with us for a long time. And then they moved Bekah to do her own show. And if you follow her story at all, it was one of her husband getting really, really sick. And we were in Africa at the time, and he got sick on a tour bus because he was a road guy.
Yeah.
And I say was, spoiler alert, this feels weird, right?
I know, you're so awkward right now. It's so funny. You can shake it off a little bit.
I feel like I have to. This is odd for me because, again, this is not a conversation I would have ever wanted to have. But I knew, obviously, we all knew eventually was coming, you know. But he did recently pass away. And so if you're new, if you don't know the story, there's some things I want to tell about the story, have Bekah tell, and then I want to talk about the whole thing because there are some great moments inside of it, and your strength just rock star at his service. So we'll get to all of that, but walk us back through what happened and when it happened.
Well, like you said, we were in Rwanda. We were with Bloodwater Mission. Yeah. And Joey was touring, and in the middle of the night, he was traveling between, I think, Alabama and Texas. He got just super sick middle of the night. So said, hey, you need to drop me off at an ER. They said, oh, it's your gallbladder. We'll get that out in the morning. No big deal. Well, he was the 0.001% where his gallbladder made a gallstone that ripped open his pancreatic duct that made his pancreas explode.
That's amazing.
It's insane. Whenever people panic in my life about gallbladder stuff, I'm like, remember, Joey's the extreme example. It doesn't happen to everybody.
Yeah, he is. And his whole thing, it just was one extremity after another.
Well, and also, too, I was just telling someone that he was the one that if something wrong was going to happen, it would happen to him. Because didn't he one time sneeze and throw his back out?
Yeah.
And then he had like half his face go...
Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
Randomly.
And he was in his 20s.
Yeah, I know. And he was 24 when he got... 24 when he got sick. This sick.
That's hard to believe, too, because I remember when you were with us and when you first started, you were, that same age roughly. And so for him, that's a 9-year battle that he had with all of this stuff.
And starting so young, too. And, the first 6 months we really thought, all right, this big thing happened and then he's getting better. And then he never got better. And so that led to lots of surgeries, lots of infections. My first 3 years of his being sick, I was at the hospital. I spent the night at the hospital a lot. I was doing work from the hospital a lot. He had major surgery in 2019 where they removed his stomach, half his pancreas, his spleen, lots of his intestines. That surgery went terribly wrong, of course.
Of course.
And we were up at Mayo Clinic for 6 weeks. And so it just kind of was this story of never getting better. And we kind of discovered around 2021, 2022 that without a major organ transplant, he just wasn't going to have a long life. And we consulted about that organ transplant and decided that even if we went through with it, the quality of life would be so poor. And so we decided to cash out his 401k and build memories together. And I will say this.
I do love that.
I have no regrets about that.
Yeah.
I have no regrets about that. I genuinely thought I'd have a few more years with him. But in conversations that I've had since he died, he had talked to a few people that he had just said, I really feel peace with whatever time I have left. So I think something in his soul knew that it was coming, even though medically everyone was telling him, oh, we'll limp you along for a few more years. We got you. I mean, he was fully TPN dependent, meaning it was IV nutrition. He couldn't eat much by mouth. There were just so many things that were kind of failing all at once all the time.
And he had a difficult and painful life too. Like it wasn't this easy thing.
No.
And you were the caregiver, sole primary caregiver, which that's not easy either. I mean, you're trying to manage a job and your life and his life and all of that goes with that.
And I will say this, that's been one of the hardest things. We're going to get real deep today because that's why I came with you.
Let's go.
One of the things that has been hard for me is for 9 years, the drumbeat of my heart and soul was, I have to keep him alive.
Yeah.
And now he's not alive. And so whose fault is that? And I know it's not mine.
No, it's not.
But at 11 p.m. when I'm exhausted from crying all day and all I want to do is go to sleep, something will pop into my mind, and I have to fight hard against that. Thankfully, I have really good friends who can talk me off the ledge. Yeah. His home health nurse is wonderful, and so anything medical, I'm like, do you think this could have been it? And he's like, no, I promise it was not. You did nothing but care for him, and you gave him so much extra time. And but that's been, just as when you were talking about the caregiver aspect, that's been a really hard identity thing to kind of wrestle with.
Well, you're not alone in that either. Like my wife with her dad, she was his caregiver at the end, and she still to this day feels guilt. Did I do everything I could have done? Did I do something wrong that caused this? And we're like, baby, no, this was what it was going to be. And you love this guy like so completely all the way to the end. See, okay, wait, I'm gonna give you a box of tissues. I'm gonna keep a couple for me. You're gonna need more. I'm gonna give you these.
I know you talked about this on the Aftercast already, but you cried more at Joey's service than I did.
Yeah, you were a rock star, man. Like I got up, Bekah asked me to open it up, and I'm like, okay, can I tell a joke? And like, yeah, absolutely. And so I go up there, and I right out of the gate, I see you, and that's like, dadgummit, that got me instantly. Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
I know and you're all sad, and no, so that doesn't help me opening.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. My bad.
This is the other thing. We deal with grief and tragedy with humor here, and so there might be some things you're like, this is insensitive.
I'm laughing. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
I promise I am not being held against my will.
Well, also, can you see the live stream? Is that still available?
Yes.
My favorite part of the whole thing was the video. The video was fantastic because it just summed up him in a nutshell.
You can see that if you go to joeyaker.com. It's Joey, then EAKER.com. There's the YouTube video.
And it was great. And again, you got up and you spoke honestly from your heart, and we're going to get into all that too, but I was so blown away at the strength. I've always told you this. I've said, man, your strength to continue to do what you did and take care of him full time is unmatched.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of people can do that. And so I hope you know that. And and you loved him so well through all of it. Mm-hmm. Here's what I'm curious about, and this is a tough question.
Yeah.
Are you living in that space where it's this hybrid world of grief and relief? Because being a caregiver is brutal. It's exhausting. If you haven't done it, you don't know. I've just gotten to watch it, and I've seen it change people, And so is there part of you that's like, I don't have to do that anymore. But then the reason I don't have to do that is because I don't have my husband.
Honestly, I thought I would have some, and I don't.
Really?
I would rather be taking care of him till my dying breath.
Yeah.
I have relief in that he's not in pain. Mm-hmm. I have relief in not having to watch him suffer.
Yeah.
But I do love him so deeply that I would have continued that. And even now, I have a friend who invited me to join her in Costa Rica in November. And I'm like, I can't do that because what if Joey's not here?
Right.
And then that feels like a betrayal of like, well, I guess I can make plans now, and I should feel okay about that, but I don't because again, I'd rather have him here.
Right.
But I'd rather that he not be in pain too. Because he did not have many good days anymore. And so that's the relief, is him not being in pain. As far as my stress, I'd rather have him here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, everybody says everything and tries to give you advice when you lose somebody, and it all comes from a good place.
Yes.
But no one knows what to say, honestly. And like for me, just knowing what I knew about Joey, the last thing he would want you to do is to fold up, because that guy loved you. Oh my gosh. Like you were loved so completely by him, you know? And so that's hard because you should go on, you move forward, you don't move past.
And that's one thing that I've been telling people, and I spoke about this at his service too, that we had a perfect last day together. And,
see, I love that.
And like I said, good days were hard to come by. He was in so much pain, trying to manage that pain, which didn't always go well. But we had a perfect last day together.
Would you mind sharing that? Because this was something that too, people that knew your story knew that there were a lot of hard days. And you guys, I think it was a gift, that maybe he even kind of sensed,
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So we were up really early that day. It was a Saturday, and we decided to go to our favorite breakfast restaurant, and we held hands and talked about the future, and drove in his car. He drove way too fast and cut people off and revved his engine, and I told him that loud cars are dumb. And I went home and gardened, which is not my usual thing, but I'd had a hysterectomy in February, and that kind of gave me a lot of energy back. So he was just telling me how thrilled he was that I felt like doing stuff. And I told him after I planted these sunflowers that I had ideas to do a butterfly garden. He's like, I am so excited about that, which, just as a side note, I just planted that this past week.
Oh, nice.
Because it was something he was excited about.
Nice.
We went to dinner at our usual kind of celebration restaurant because we were finally getting to my birthday. It had been over a month, but again, he's never feeling well, so we had to cancel so much. And he got to eat his favorite meal as his last meal and insisted that I take the free dessert, even though it wasn't my birthday. And then we went home and I turned on a Marvel movie while he slept. He always took meds if he did eat, and it would knock him out pretty immediately. But he was waking up throughout the movie and making fun of it, just at different parts.
That's
like,
Joey, yeah.
Look at me, I'm hanging off a plane. And then he'd like pass back out and be like, you're asleep. I'm not asleep. Yeah, so it was just a really lovely day together, and it doesn't sound like this amazing, bachelorette date kind of thing, but for us it was really special, and I'm going to hold that forever. And the next day was Mother's Day, and we were playing the usual game of should we go to the hospital, should we not? And I got in the shower to get ready to take him, and he was breathing when I checked on him, and he wasn't when I got back.
That is something I don't think people, you're never prepared for that.
And that's another thing that when I talk about wrestling and just this thing about trying to keep him alive is one of the early things was, well, what if I'd taken him to the hospital sooner? And I've accepted that even if I had, I think he would have coded there.
Right.
And even if they saved him, his quality of life would have been even less.
Right.
And so this is all coming back to how well he loved me, because I truly believe that he saw I was going to be okay.
Yeah.
That he saw that I had great friends around me, that he saw that I had energy back. I even believe, and you can debate the theology of this. This is what the Aftercast is for, I guess. But I've discussed this with several very more biblically literate friends. But when I came out and found him unresponsive, I felt him hovering like behind me.
Interesting.
And that's the kind of stuff that whenever you hear other people talk about it, you're like, okay, crazy. You're weird.
Yeah.
But I just have this feeling in my soul, and call it grief talking or call it like the Holy Spirit. I don't know. I truly believe that God was like, hey, she's going to be okay.
Right.
Like, you can come home.
Right.
You don't have to do this anymore. Like, it's time.
Because you do hear stories of people saying that when they come back, like, I saw my body hovering and stuff. And like, we don't fully know any of the stuff,
And my friend Ashley, who's very well versed, she's like, well, it talks about our souls ascending, so that's not the craziest thing in the world.
Doesn't have to go boop, pop. It could be like a long, slow one.
And again, I could be totally wrong, but I genuinely know that, I have to keep reminding myself of this, that it was his time.
Yeah.
And he's home.
I want to ask a question here. I know Wally's got all the questions, but one of them for me is, where are you at currently with your relationship with God? Because I think a lot of us most of us are carrying weight that we'll never see, other people won't see. Some is more obvious than others, but we all go through those times where we cannot understand where God is even coming from, what his plan is, if he even has a plan, if he's even forgotten us. So where are you at currently in that?
I would say that I'm in the same space that I was at a service, where I have a lot of doubts and I'm angry, and God and I are working through it. You want to get Aftercast real?
Yeah.
I used the F word in prayer for the first time the other day.
Really?
Because we're hashing it out. Yeah, exactly, that one. We're hashing it out. And again, like I said at the service, I still believe God is good, and I know that. But nothing feels good right now.
Right.
Yes.
And so I still have my faith. I don't know how people get through any of this the past 9 years without it.
Yeah.
But God and I are wrestling.
But I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I think in some ways that's healthy.
Yeah.
Because it just, to me, that is faith.
Yeah.
That you're actually wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't care what words you dropped on him. He already knew what you were thinking to begin with, But I think that in itself is faith, because it's kind of like what Mark Hall was saying about when he was going through his cancer treatment. And he said, you keep hitting this wall of like, I can't go past this because God, I know what I know, and God is good. But what I'm seeing, it ain't.
Exactly.
And so I commend you for even still fighting through it, because I think some easily would lose their faith in this.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I thank you for that.
Yeah, it's easy to walk away and blame God. It's harder to stay in the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to stay and wrestle, and God's no stranger to that, and he understands that. He's close to the broken.
Well, and also too, like, where else can you go?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, this is what I know is to be true.
Yeah.
So where do I go from here?
Yeah.
What about your mom, your dad, Joey's family? How are they doing?
I mean, I think what you'd expect.
Yeah.
I've
By
gotten,
the way, his dad did so good at the ceremony.
His dad spoke.
He's not at all what I expected either.
I know.
I don't
I
know
know.
what I expected, but I didn't expect
I
it.
have beard envy.
He looks like he belongs in a biker gang.
He does.
And would you believe it? He taught kindergarten at one point.
That's
no, that is
crazy.
weird. That is weird.
Again, if you see the service, you'll see what we're talking about. Right now, I am finding a lot of comfort in talking to his parents a lot, and that has been a really. There's an old saying, and I don't know who to attribute this to, but it's they say you die twice. Once when you actually die, and the next when someone stops saying your name. And so for me, keeping Joey's memory alive is meaning keeping them very, very close.
Yeah.
And so they're struggling. We have our different breakdowns that we're sharing. I had a breakdown over buying toilet paper yesterday at Kroger.
Yeah.
They have their own things. But so that's been good. My parents, I think, don't know what to do with me. They're like, we want to help, but we don't know how. And I'm like,
Right.
I know, but they're hurting too. And death is not a natural thing. We're not meant to die. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, that's not the original plan. And so it's hard to wrestle through, and it's uncomfortable, and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. And again, like you sit there, you talk about how it's you're processing grief, they're processing grief. You each take turns being upset, and hopefully, like, one person is weak when the other one's strong to balance each other out, to help, to help lean on each other. Do you? Here's what happens when someone passes away. Everyone doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
And so they're scared to bring him up.
I want to talk about him
See,
all the time.
that's and I think that's the thing that people need to hear about dealing with someone that's lost somebody, is that they don't want to have them forgotten.
Can I tell a quick Joey story that ties into a moment that happened yesterday?
Yeah.
Joey was so loved by everyone, and especially his pharmacy staff. They were buddies, and I mean, he was there a lot, and they knew us by name. They knew our birth dates. They saw us coming, and they're like, "Hey, Mrs. Aker," and they type in our birth dates and pull up our stuff. And the pharmacist and 3 of the techs all came to the service.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I called them and told them, and they said, "We're going to do whatever we can to make it."
Wow.
They got people to cover their shifts, and they came.
That's awesome.
And last night, I had to go pick up a prescription for our dog, ironically. And so I go up, and they're checking on me, and they're giving me a hug. And one of the techs pulls out his credit card and pays for Hadley's medication.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And I said, "You don't have to do that." And he said, "In my culture, you just grieve, and we do the rest." He said, "You're not even supposed to work or do anything. Let me do this." I'm like, "It's just my dog's medication."
Yeah.
He said, "I tried to pay for yours, but you already hit your deductible."
Yeah, a long time ago.
But that was just a really touching moment of kindness. But I also believe that it speaks to who Joey was, that they
Right.
loved him so deeply just from that little 5-minute interaction.
It also points out, too, that, and I know Wally has said this, too, that Joey stayed happy through the whole thing. Like, he always found, he was like wearing rose-colored glasses. You look at him and you know he's going through something, looking at him physically.
Yeah.
But he could still make friends, and still people wanted to be around him when he was walking through a life or death situation.
He struggled more at home, and especially in the last year.
And that's what you had to deal with. Right.
And so that's where the relief comes in of knowing that he's not in pain.
Yeah.
But he really just wanted others to feel comfortable around him and want to be greeted warmly. And like, he would adapt himself to any situation to make other people feel loved and seen.
Well, his name wasn't Joey. His name was Joey, because that's how everybody, like, it wouldn't matter when he would come here. We could have not seen him for months, and everyone would walk by and see him in Bekah's office, and same reaction, Joey.
It took so long for him to leave the office each time because he stopped to talk to everyone.
Yeah, because everybody just loved the guy, and so that's what I mean. That's a testament to a short, well-lived life. Unfortunately, too short. What is your biggest fear as you are sitting where you're at now and you look at future and all of this stuff, what is that thing that's kind of that you're wrestling with for you?
You want honesty?
Yeah, absolutely.
How honest do I want to get? I don't want anyone to call in anything on me.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I don't want to do another 50 years without it.
Yeah.
And that is not to say that anything's going to happen.
I get
Everyone can calm down.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But I don't want to do a long life without him.
I have a friend that lost her husband last year, and same exact thing. Like, I know she's going to be okay. We know it. She doesn't know it herself right now, but we know it. But she's in that same boat. She's like, this was who I was supposed to do life with, and I can't, and I don't want to do this. But she finds her reason to get up, and for her, it's her kids. And so, if I'm being honest with you, the thing that, like, she has her kids, so she has to give it up.
Yeah.
And so for me, my worry for you was, you don't have to get up. You know, like, you could easily sink into depression. And so for me, I'm like, I want you to find something that just gives you that little bit of purpose now, you know, and like you've talked about wanting to help other people going through medical issues and being advocates for them. And I think finding that purpose for you when it's time can be that thing that helps you get up.
Yeah. Because
you got to get up.
I know.
You know. But you don't want to, but you gotta.
Well, you have a great community of people that have walked through this similar situation. What advice have they given you?
I mean, it's really just a day at a time, breath at a time. There's no wrong way to grieve. So even when you feel like you're being crazy and you're doing weird stuff, it's part of it.
Yeah.
And I really do have the best friends in the world. When they found out, they just all crashed in my bed, you know. And you talk about reason to get out of bed. I actually have been getting out of the house almost every day since he died.
Good.
And that's thanks to my friends, and not because they're trying to distract me or cheer me up or be like, waka waka, look over here.
Yeah.
But because they are giving me space to be sad, where I can go and I want to hear about their lives and talk to them and catch up. But also, if I take a turn for the depressing, they're going to ride that wave with me, and they're not afraid of it. And so that has been immensely helpful. And also the dogs. I know that, okay, dogs are not kids, whatever, but they're a reason they bring me a lot of joy.
Yes.
I do have to take them out every morning, you know, so they bug me.
Do you think they've noticed a change? Yeah.
They were, the first week especially, they were looking for him quite a bit.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that was hard to watch.
Do you find yourself, because I tried to put myself like in your position because I obviously haven't walked it, but do you find yourself kind of talking to Joey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I would do the same thing.
Yep. The first thing I told him was when I was trying to park his car in the garage, the way he parked it, I'm like, why did you park your stupid car this stupid way? But
we're going to fight about this later. He's like, I can't get away from this.
I'm seeing a therapist who specializes in grief, and she said that is actually a very healthy thing to do because it keeps their memory alive and keeps them close. So I have a lot of conversations with him, and I carry his urn from the living room to the bedroom. Like,
do you really?
Yeah,
I
think
funny.
that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, were there any ideas of what he wanted when he knew that this was gonna, like, did y'all talk about what this looked like? What did he wish for you?
So before he died, he was having this conversation of really wanting to move. We had been talking about moving to somewhere warmer because this past winter was really hard on him. He got pneumonia a few times, and
because he was just skin and bones,
yeah,
like he had no
so
meat
sick.
on him.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's like, I want to get you on the water. He's like, then I can die because you'll be on the water and you'll be so happy because he knows I love being in the ocean and things like that. And so that's one thing we talked about. He always, when he'd talk about, you know, his fear around death, a lot of it was fear of leaving me behind. And I had to tell him, like, I'll be okay. Like, I don't need you to hang on for me.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not okay, you know. And again, rather have him here. But he knew that I'd be wrecked because of our love. But I also know that he would want me to find ways to move forward and figure out what my life looks like. But it's hard to do without him. And even, you know, there's some big changes that we'll get to. But the hardest thing about any of it has just been not being able to talk through that stuff with my best friend.
Sure.
Yeah. And when it came to his service, were there certain things that he wanted? And did he? No, he didn't have
No.
any. He didn't
No.
care.
It just the cremation. He wanted to be cremated, but that was more of a. My thing with Joey is I never wanted to remember him as cold and dead. I wanted to remember him as warm and alive.
Yeah.
And so I got to say goodbye to him at the hospital, but I made it very short because that's not Joey.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Right.
But other than that, no, he would always make jokes about it, but never anything definitive. But as I started building his service, things just kind of came naturally of what it needed to look like. So he was a road guy. He toured. I asked
I
people
loved the
come,
theming.
come
Your
in their show
theming was
blacks.
fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Come in their show blacks. Or like instead of programs, I had access badges that had his face on one side and the run of show on the back instead of the program.
Super creative.
So that it's interesting when someone you love dies, at least in my experience, some things are just so blatantly obvious of, oh, this is how I honor them.
Yeah.
And it's not something you talked about with them, but it just feels so them that you know it's the right decision. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic service without a doubt. Like we've all known that this day was coming for Joey. You know, everybody knew. And you think about it like, oh, geez, that's going to be a bad day. That's going to be a bad day. I don't want to be in part of that day, you know. And then like when we got there, because of who he was, there was so much laughter still. And even in the midst of all the heavy and the hard and the hurt, there was still joy.
Yeah.
And that's who Joey was. Joey was joy, you know. And I think that you guys did a great job at really honoring him. You know, and it's obviously it's not hard and it's still going. And I appreciate you being honest about not being okay. Because a lot of times people put on a brave face or they won't share things. But it's okay to not be okay. And people have to give you that space, you know, because you're going to break plans. Yeah. You know, people want to help you and they want to get you out. You know, do you appreciate that from people? Like, just being like, hey, let's go out, you know, or are you like, I just want to be left alone?
I like that they don't stop asking.
Okay.
I like that they're not forcing me. I like that they're like, hey, I'm going to do this. Do you want to join?
Sure.
Hey, tomorrow, would you want to come over? Hey, tomorrow, can I come over to your place?
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that I might say no 5 times in a row, but they don't stop asking because it just depends on the day. And I've said yes more than I ever would have expected because I saw myself kind of like you described, just holding up and blocking out the world.
Because I probably would too.
Yeah.
Like I get that, you know, and so I don't want to do that for me, and I certainly don't want that for you.
But the walls close in so quickly.
Yeah.
And there's just this vacuum without him there. And so I am grateful for the people in my life who are close to me, who know me well enough. Or even in the early days, my friend Danielle every day would be like, all right, here are 3 options for our days. And it always started with, we can sit and stare at the ceiling fan again, or we can do this, we can do that. And
That's great.
Just providing safe options for me at a really fresh time, raw time.
Somebody else has kind of found themselves in this place or, you know, has a friend that's going through this. You mentioned your therapist talking about Joey talking. Have you gotten anything from your therapist? You're like, man, this is awesome. Like, this is good for me in this time, and this is something that I want people to know. Like, if there been anything good like that, or have you just been processing?
I'm still processing.
Yeah.
It's way too fresh for me to be like, here's what I learned and how I can help you.
Right.
Buy my book today, $19.99.
Right.
But call now and you'll get.
Yeah.
I'm still processing, and a lot of my sessions with her are just processing and genuinely and telling her about my most recent meltdowns. And for example, the last session I had, it was the day after I came in here to clean out my desk, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you look so good. You're doing so good. And then that felt like a betrayal because I'm like, but I'm not. And I put on an act to come in, so people weren't giving me sad eyes the entire time. So I'm still very much in the processing part. I don't have any good advice to pass on yet.
Yeah, because I had a good conversation with Bekah like a few days ago, and we were talking, and it was old Bekah. You know, we were talking about work, and even though we were talking about the sad stuff too, we were laughing about things, and humor is such a big part of who you are too. And so
I'm grateful to not have lost that.
Yeah. Oh
and
my gosh.
also that's honoring to Joey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and so we were wrapping up our phone call, and I'm just like, well, that's good. You sound great. I'm glad everything's fine. You're great now. You know, just kidding. But I love that we can laugh about that stuff, and because I think the last thing you want is people walking on eggshells around you, but being respectful.
And that's the thing is the sad puppy dog eyes where people are like, hey,
yeah, how you doing? Right.
And I get it. I mean, I want to know what to say to me.
Yeah, it's an unimaginable loss. You know?
Yeah.
What would you say to people who want to help? Maybe what are the do's and don'ts of people that are grieving?
Don't be that person who, if I don't know you, you're reaching out going, hey, if you need to talk. I had a guy who reached out to me 3 times. I don't know him at all. And I just didn't respond because I'm not responding right now to a lot of people, most people.
Even people that you are in life with, you know, yeah.
Sometimes just sending a text feels really hard, even when you're not grieving.
Yeah.
And so this one person messaged me 3 or 4 times in a row and then finally said something like, just trying to help, sorry. And I was like, wait a second. How did this turn?
Right. That's the one I respond to.
So I would say don't assume that you are a close inner circle member, but offer what you can.
Right.
So as far as what to do, there's one friend of mine that she and her husband, Joey and I were friends with, but kind of a little bit of distance as they had kids, natural life stuff, nothing crazy. She signed up for every single Friday of my meal train. And every single Friday she asks if I want to come have dinner with their family or if I just want her to drop off food. And that was, it's very no pressure. It's very low stakes. She tells me what the menu is and it's my decision if I want to come or have it delivered or just say no, leave me alone. So I would say that the don't is, don't assume you know best. Don't insert yourself into a situation you don't belong in. The do would be offer what you can, tangible things, and then don't be offended if you don't hear back. Because sometimes it's not your place to be someone that's that close to offer those things. Does that make sense?
Or even when you have people that are close and you're like, because you offer and then like that, I'm just trying to help. You know, you have to be of the mindset of this is a game time decision. Yeah. Like you could have had every intention to do this an hour ago, and then it all implodes on you again. And you're like, I'm not doing this. Yeah. And so you can't be hurt by that. Yeah. All you can do is keep offering.
Are you saying, though, that you're saying have tangible things like, I am coming to mow your lawn. Not just be like, tell me when you need help with anything.
I would say something like, hey, I would like to come this week to mow your lawn. Let me know what would be a good day.
Right.
So not just being like, here I am with my lawnmower, because right now I have people who are doing that for me.
Nice.
Or in the early days, like food was just showing up right and left. And I'm like, I'm one person, guys. I can't eat it all. And none of this is safe for dogs.
No.
So I do like to have a little heads up because sometimes I don't like to be bombarded or surprised. I'm doing karate chops. You can't see.
Let's get to the other thing you kind of alluded to. Is that you today is actually your last day here. That you are not coming back to do your show, and something that I completely understand, like, because I don't know how you could be expected to fight, a week after you lose your husband at your age to come back and do an on-air show. Like, I don't think that's fair to ask, and so you've made the decision that you're like, I'm not doing this, right?
I am. I did. So today is my last day. I had told leadership, and I knew before Joey died, I told them that, hey, if he were to die in the next few years, I can't do this job. Yeah. And that's even more true now. This is a fun job. It's a unique job. It is also something that you have to give your entire emotional energy to. And I don't have that. Yeah. I don't have that creative energy right now. I don't believe that I'm in a place to encourage others. I also don't want to be a person who's going on air and faking it every day.
Right.
Because I don't want to talk about whatever songs are out or, what Starbucks is doing, or that just all feels really, I don't know what the word is, but
trivial or surface.
Yes, just not something I care about, but I don't want to fake my way through it. So I've made the decision to step away completely, and I have not doubted it for a second.
Yeah.
I know it's the right decision. It's bittersweet because I've been here for 12 years. It's also bittersweet because I know people have followed Joey's story and my story, and that's why I asked if I could come and talk with you guys to kind of be able to close this chapter, because people have been so kind, so above and beyond kind. People I've never met have been sending me the kindest cards and messages. And even last night, a listener DoorDashed me dinner.
Nice.
Like just kindness that just that goes beyond anything I would have ever expected. And I'm so grateful for that. But I know that this is not a job that I can do right now.
Yeah, because this is a job where you pour your heart out every day, and then and you're right. Like people expect something from you. They want to be entertained or what have you. You know, and if you're not in a place to give that, I remember talking to Jason Gray when he was going through a divorce. He's a Christian artist, and I said, "Well, are you going to talk about this?" You know, and he's like, "No, I've had really good people counsel me that no, not now." He's like, "I'm going to wait till I'm on the other side of it." Because right now, I can't say anything that's going to help somebody because I'm too close to it. I'm in it. And eventually, there will be a time where I talk about this. And my hope for you is that same thing because you're very good at this job. Like, you had some of the best teachers.
Oh, my goodness. I knew this is where it was going. I knew it. I almost called it, Betty. I almost called it.
I know. Honestly, we should have seen it coming. We should have stopped it before it came.
You guys have been around long enough. But you're really good at this job. And so for me, I see that I'm hoping this is a pause. I hope this is putting something on pause, getting where you need to be, and then eventually being able to come back to something that you're really, really good at.
Maybe. And I think just right now I know I need to completely step away and step back.
All of that I say, unless you find a different purpose. Because that's the thing. You might, sometimes when you leave something and you think you struggle through it or you think it's the worst thing, you find a whole nother purpose that consumes you and reignites you. And I hope that for you, whether that's coming back into this nonsense and this craziness, or whether it is finding something that fulfills you in a different way to have, because you're really tenacious, you know, and so to have that tenacious spirit to get through what you're going through and then to turn that into something that you're passionate about. I'm interested to see where that goes.
Yeah,
Me too.
I mean, is there you might be in this just minute by minute, and I totally understand that, but is there any kind of plan or idea?
This is the current plan. No plan. I, thanks to some people were really generous to cover Joey's medical debt, and I have a little bit of life insurance coming in. Mm-hmm. So I am going to be okay. And I just want people to know that like I am not destitute. I'm not like going to be starving in the streets for a very long time. I have people who can support me if it comes to that. Immediately, my plan is to get something that is more part-time, just something that gets me out of the house, gives me routine, but is also something where I can leave work at work.
That would be nice.
I know that I'm not in a place where, just as I'm not in a place to be on air doing a radio show, I'm also not in a place where should be trying to build a career.
Yeah. And I would also say maybe not customer service.
How's your day? Mine's terrible. Thanks for asking.
My husband just died. Yeah. I was just calling about my water softener.
I could see myself, and this is something I've thought for a long time, the next chapter of my career being something medically adjacent. So whether that's patient advocacy, like you mentioned earlier, or something along those lines, I have a lot of experience and a lot of skills. So I have a lot of peace that God has my next chapter planned. And that's not usually me. I'm usually the one who's like freaking out a lot. I have peace about it. I also am really grateful that I have the space to grieve for a while still, that I don't have to jump into something on a grand scale.
Yeah, some people don't have that. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where I think as a society, you asked earlier what to do and not to do. I'm not saying this to do it for me, so please hear me say this, but give widows money. Give widowers money. Give people mourning their parents, mourning their kids, even just that little bit of financial freedom, which I've gotten from people being generous, it goes a long way to be like, all right, I don't have to immediately figure out the next thing.
Right.
And I'm grateful to have that. And I wish that we had a better system to provide everyone grieving that. So if you do have someone in your life, I would recommend money over flowers personally.
Yeah.
Well, and I would say too that I think you would make for great patient advocacy, because from what I understand, it's where people are confused about our healthcare system, and you come in and you pretty much dumb it down for them so that they can understand it. And I will say this, I've lived it out firsthand not that long ago when I went to the dentist for the first time in 15 years. And I couldn't get my HSA card to work. And I was like, well, who do I call? I don't even know who our HR person is I don't know. So I just called Bekah. And I was like, why is my HSA card?
You literally called Bekah about your HSA card?
I did.
You need to hear the rest of the story.
I did.
She was still using her old HSA account.
Oh, okay.
Do you know how long ago it was we switched?
That 3 years.
No idea. And she was like, which one? I'm like, the green one? I don't know. I seriously have no idea. But she got me in it. And
got you through.
Got me where I was like, oh, I'm using the wrong HSA card. Okay, here we go.
Well, I would say this, that if anyone else has a problem with their stuff, here in the company, if you're watching this right now, don't call her now. I think this was pre-Joey passing away. Please tell me it was.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
absolutely.
I wouldn't put anything past Betty.
Oh, no.
I'll give her some credit. She went to the dentist. Come on.
I know.
Come on. I'm growing up.
She's doing good stuff
I'm
here.
a big kid.
Well, we are obviously gonna miss you around here. You're somebody that I got to pour into career-wise.
And I'm grateful for that.
And I've loved watching you grow and see who you have become, and I'm gonna miss that.
My stepping away, is that a massive failure for you?
No,
It's an F on the report card,
Yeah.
honestly. If you think about
You
it.
know what? I blame Joey.
We should.
I am going to miss the camaraderie in knowing, I could come to you and I could say, yeah, Wally did this thing. And you'd be like, oh yeah. Nothing surprised you.
Checks
You were
out.
like, yeah, that's about it. And two, you were always up for a good pet photo. If
Yes.
you didn't
I
care.
love seeing the boys.
Yeah, I could bring out the pictures of the cats.
Tell me the
literally
bean story. Come
just
on.
today we had a visitor in, and I was like, oh, I can show you a picture of a cat. She's like, oh, I've already seen it. I'm like, okay, wow, shut me down.
It's so great.
Wow.
Okay.
It's so great.
But you have an awesome sense of humor. You have a great way of delivering the line right when it needs to be delivered, and that's a hard thing to find. I don't know if you want to play this now.
I do, actually. Yeah.
But Bekah started this when she was in the position that I eventually took over, and then it was a bunch of
It was a big show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyway. But she started using it as blackmail, where she would take audio from Wally and then play it when it didn't make sense, and she would call it "Here's how Bekah hears the show," and then once that was handed over to me, it's now "Here's how Betty hears the show." But tables were turned because now I had all the keys, and I turned one into a Bekah version.
I'm trying new deodorant out today, and it is TBD on if it's working. Back off!
Yeah, see?
Back off!
Me and Einstein.
Einstein and I. The world is a dark and terrible place. Ha! Rob. Ha!
Oh,
I'm a little bitter. Even though Zach's guess was terrible, he was pretty close.
How is that terrible? Zach can never win with Bekah.
Never.
This is the radio. Is that too crazy?
Yes.
No. Does anyone ever have fun with you? I got stuck in a romper at the Marshall's dressing room this weekend, and it was terrifying. I don't like you
Yeah.
at all. I know that Anna belongs to Zach because they're both bald. 5. 5.
wait, how old was she?
5. I don't care.
Oh, what was that again?
What in the
Bekah?
world?
I
Oh, you had a sip of drink in there. In your
I
mouth
did. I
there.
got so excited I spit it out.
Okay.
Never
like
say that
that.
again.
The
You're
latest in it.
colorblind.
I did. According to who?
According to me, because I'm right. The phones are broken, Phil. If you keep going on about this, I'm going to lose my mind. I hate it. Okay, I need to say something because I was on the Wally show for most of my 20s.
Yeah.
And that girl was a lot.
Yeah, I love that girl. You kidding me? It was a wrangling between you and Betty. It was a constant wrangling for me.
Oh, can you imagine what it was like for us?
Yeah, it's true. But there was two of you helping me.
You're enough for two people.
That's
trust
true.
me.
But yeah, it's funny because going back and hearing a lot of those, I remember that. I remember how much a hard time you gave Zach about his daughter having no hair.
Okay, she was bald for like 4 years.
It was brutal.
That's not natural, guys. I'm still not over it.
Oh, so funny though. Well, I'm glad that we can end on a laugh and that we can still have joy inside of that, and too, like I know this, but I'm always a phone call away.
I do.
Anything
Although
you
I
need.
called you the other day and you didn't recognize who it was.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, he's been ignoring my text messages.
Okay.
Well,
do you
that's
remember
because I don't like you.
Do you remember the one time he accidentally blocked me on his phone?
No.
Do you remember this?
I don't.
You accidentally blocked me, so I would text you and I wouldn't get a response, and I'd call it, go straight to voicemail, and somehow you had accidentally
that's
blocked
funny.
my number, and I had to
That's
show
funny.
you how to unblock it.
Well, the other
jeez.
day, like she called me. I was driving. It was raining. It was hard to hear, and her name didn't come up on my car. I was driving, and so she's like, "Hey, I'm leaving," and I'm like, "Okay." like
One phone call away, you say.
Yeah,
Who dis?
yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm trying to put it all together without saying who is this.
It
And
could
then,
have been a complete stranger, though.
well,
Like,
no,
right?
no, it was somebody from the company.
I said I was leaving
the
WAYFM.
company. Yeah.
I was telling him I had officially made my
okay.
decision.
So he knew it was somebody that he knew.
yeah.
It's just he didn't know.
So
who
I
that
just
was.
thought
Okay.
someone's calling to tell me they're leaving.
Because he goes, oh, and I thought,
Yeah.
why is he shocked? We've
Yeah.
talked through this,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
this is what I was feeling, that this is definitely the direction this was going,
Yeah.
and then you didn't know who I
It's
was.
so funny, and I'm like, "Oh, it's Becca! Hey, how are you? I didn't recognize you.
Wow.
I couldn't hear you. You sounded great.
Classic Wally.
Phone
Yeah.
call away, you
I know.
say.
Yeah. Well, I might screen you, but no. I will be there to fix things at your house or do whatever you need.
Yes,
me to do.
Which I will say that Wally came over the week that Joey died, and he was like, "Make me a list." So I made him. I took you serious.
I loved it.
I made you a list, and he did like 4 or 5 projects that I'm really grateful for. That
I've still got that other one when I get back from my
We don't
daughter's
know.
wedding.
It's
I'm
okay.
doing it. No, I'm doing it, and you're gonna give me a day, and I'm gonna come do it.
he's
got a
seen my
honey-do
house
list.
as like a challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he likes that.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Well, because it's like that's a way that I can show you that I love you and that I care.
Well, it's the tangible thing that you were talking
Yes.
about earlier. Like that's something he enjoys, what he's good at, and
Because
he says,
emotions
"Hey,
can be
this is
hard
when
for
I'm
me
coming."
sometimes,
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I like to make jokes.
Like she said, you did cry a lot more than she did.
I
but
did
whatever.
knock that out, but there you go. Well, Becca, we appreciate you coming in and spending the time with us and kind of getting everyone caught up because I know there's a ton of people that have followed your life and your story, and I just appreciate the gut level honest part of it because I do. I know you're like, I'm not in a place to help anybody right now. And I 100% get that, but just this could be something that helps somebody that you're not even aware of.
And I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
I just know that I'm not in a place where I can try very hard.
Okay, yeah, I get it. You know what? We'll talk to you next week. We'll see if you're better then.
Okay, a week will fix it.
Yeah,
sure.
you're fine.
Wow.
Well, there you go. That's going to have to do it for our Aftercast for today, and I think we all know what we say here. And as always,
Thanks for being a potty.